Hey everyone, welcome, I'm MisterBo and we have yet another brand new character trailer for Crash Team Racing Nitro-Fueled. Now last week we got Polar, which was kind of a surprise, and this week, well, we had all assumed we'd be getting Pura. But no, Beenox decided to surprise us, and instead we got the first boss of the game. We got a character trailer for Ripper Roo, and not only that, we got a good look at his track as well, Roo's Tubes. So in this video we're going to be breaking down that trailer, we're then going to be comparing Nitro-Fueled to the original CTR, and then at the end I'll be giving you my thoughts on this trailer as a whole. But before we get into it, it is worth noting that Beenox are currently only releasing these trailers on Instagram and on Twitter, meaning the quality isn't really the best. Hopefully they start to release some 1080p versions on YouTube, because in some of the screenshots that I'm going to be pulling up and breaking down, the quality is a little bit muddy here and there, so that is the reason why these shots are not the best quality. So without further ado, let's hop into this trailer. Now the first shot we get is our first look at adventure mode. This is Insanity Beach, the first hub world. It's looking a lot greener than it used to. We get to see more detail on the rocks, which is awesome, but slap bang in the middle we get to see Roo's garage door, and well, they've changed them drastically. We'll take a look at them side by side for the original in a bit, but what we can notice is we have their iconic 2D icon that they've taken from Insane Trilogy and placed on the door, and it seems like each door is going to be representative of their track. So we haven't taken a look at Roo's Tubes yet, but you'll notice some of the aspects of this door are present in that track as well. So I assume when we see Papu's door, it's going to be themed around Papu's Pyramid. When we see Komodo Joe's door, it's going to be themed around Dragon Mines, Pinstripe around Hot Air Skyways, and then, well, we'll just have to wait and see what Oxides looks like. Personally, I think this is a really cool change. Obviously they kind of had to do something with the doors, because in the original they were a little bit bland, and I think this is a nice change. As we move on, we get our first look at Roo in his iconic orange cart. He's heading down a hill in Roo's Tubes here, just off the start line, and we get to see a cool bit of animation here where Roo basically sticks his tongue out, wraps it round his head and covers his eyes so he doesn't see the drop. I think that's just a nice little addition, and we can also see here he's using his right foot on the gas pedal and his left foot to steer the cart, because obviously he doesn't have any hands to actually drive. Here we get a good look at his TNT crate. So if you aren't aware, Roo is the first boss of the game, and his special ability is to put down TNT crates, and he puts down a lot of them and you have to dodge them. Fairly easy boss, so hopefully they increase the difficulty slightly in adventure mode, but nonetheless a pretty fun boss as well. We get to see a good look at some of the tunnels here and the outside of them. There's a lot more sea life outside of the tunnels this time around. In the original there wasn't really much, it was kind of just a little bit murky with a few bits of like vegetation and stuff outside. This time we can see a lot more. There's even like floating lights and even mines outside, just giving you some of the feelings of the levels that we saw in the original trilogy. Moving on, we get to see a good look at the starting line here. Of course, the starting line in each of the tracks is going to be unique, and this one is the same. We get these sort of computer screens where it says CTR on it. One of them even says TNT, and it looks like we sort of got a heart rate monitor on the left one there. I think this starting line really fits well with the whole aesthetic of the track. It is also worth noting that the purple mushrooms that we got in that final turn have kind of been changed into these sort of purple lights instead. Not a big change, but it sort of brings a little bit more atmosphere to the track with those purple lights. A very fuzzy shot here, but we get a good look at Roo in his cart going full speed, tongue flailing out. I think this just sort of captures who Roo is as a character, and again we get to see more of the outside of the tunnels. We then get to see Roo doing a jump, and we see this animation which we've already seen in the original trailer where he sort of jumps out of his cart and looks behind. A nice little addition. We also see some sort of icicles hanging from the ceiling, and we get to see that same design that we saw on the boss garage door in the track as well. The sort of red lights with the yellow and black stripes, again like that boss door that we saw at the beginning. We then get to see him boost sliding around the corner, and you can see he's taken his foot off the steering wheel. Again, just little bits of animation adding to the character's character basically. I can't wait to see what his winning and losing animation is going to be like when you finish a race. We then get to see Crash do a little jump over into the final turn. We have the iconic skeleton that you go through. This time they've added a head onto it, and I'm glad to see they have kept the boss icon on their respective tracks. You can see Ripper Roo's logo there on the wall. It's a slightly different position to the original, but I'm glad it's there. We had gotten a screenshot of Papu's Pyramid before, and in the newer version there was no logo of Papu where there was in the original, so I had kind of assumed that they'd taken that out, but it seems like maybe they've just moved them around with the redesign of the tracks. Also, it's worth noting that on the left left hand side there, that shortcut is still there, but again the mushrooms have been replaced by these purple lights. And then the final thing we get is a look at a brand new cutscene. So it seems like we're going to be getting completely reanimated cutscenes to what we saw in the original. This time, however, instead of being outside of their boss door, they're going to be actually on their home track. This is obviously the cutscene that you get when you beat Ripperoo. He's out of his car on the start line and he's going to give you the key. He's going to cough it up because obviously he's eaten it, and he's going to cough it up and give it to you with all the jewel hanging out of his mouth. I think this is a neat addition. I think a lot of people had expected that we'd be getting brand new cutscenes for the bosses, but we weren't really too sure, and obviously this just confirms it, which gets me even more hyped to see the intro cutscene to adventure mode. So there you have it, that is the character trailer for Ripperoo and our first look at some footage of Roo's tubes. On screen you're going to be seeing some comparison shots from Nitro-Fueled compared to the original, so you can just see how drastically they have changed this track. Personally, I'm really liking the redesign of Roo's tubes. In the original it was a fun track to play on, but in terms of the visual aesthetic it was kind of a little bit bland. Obviously with the limitations of the console they couldn't do what they wanted to do, but with this new version I feel like Beenox has kind of fulfilled what Naughty Dog's original vision was, whereas with some tracks like Polar Pass, obviously they've sort of reimagined it by adding all the polar bears and the sort of Viking village around. I feel like this track has kind of kept faithful to the original. Now as to what we'll be getting next, I have no idea. It's probably going to go back to the original characters, so either Purah, Cortex, Dingodile, Tiny. We'll probably get one of those as the next character trailer, and then maybe in a few more weeks we'll get Papu, then we'll get Komodo Joe and Pinstripe, and then maybe they'll reveal Oxide in some sort of adventure mode trailer, or maybe a trailer for the Oxide edition. That would be kind of neat to see. Of course there are also the other characters of Entropy, Penta and Fake Crash to see as well, and we've got plenty of weeks to lead up to the launch, so I'm sure we'll get a character trailer for each of those. But I'd love to know what you guys think of this in the comments below. What do you think of Roo's design? I think they have actually slightly tweaked it from the Insane trilogy. What do you think of what they've done with Roo's tubes in Nitro-Fueled? Let me know in the comments below. And again, like in the previous video, let me know whose character trailer you think we're going to be seeing next, because this was definitely a curveball that I don't think anyone was expecting. But apart from that, if you guys enjoyed this video, feel free to give the like button a big old hug. If you're new around here, feel free to subscribe for more gaming content and coverage, and if you do, be sure to also boop that bell icon to be notified when my future videos go live. But apart from that, thanks for hanging out, and I'll catch you later. Bye bye.